Hi there, warm welcome to you. Can you hear me, viewers? Thank you for responding with yes. Let me welcome the participants first, then I'll explain the situation in the Amhara region. I was due to speak on another topic, but I had to change the topic. I'll explain the reason after a while. Let me welcome and greet the participants first. Ahmed Muhammad is the first viewer who commented. He says, "Hi Sajid, are breaking the news that we were waiting." Title is different. What you're saying is that I have changed the topic of the live chat. Yes, I have changed the topic. I'll explain. We have Eden Gaming 192 says, "Hi Sajid. Eden Gaming is a member. Special welcome to you, Eden Gaming. If you want to be a member, link is given in description section of the video and in the about section of the channel. That link will take you to membership page. My Shigurti says, "How are you doing, sir?" I'm fine. My Shigurti, how are you? Faisal Andre joins, says, "Is there any possibility to use drones by Fano? Can you make a video on this issue, please?" Faisal Andre is asking. Well, how much money has been raised by Amhara diaspora for Fano so far? If you ask me, I think they have raised millions of dollars. If all this money had reached the Fano commanders, and the Fano commanders were clear about their military objectives in terms of acquisition of drones, by now Fano would have acquired drones. Commercial level drones, which could have been used by Fano for military purposes. But I think they never made a strategy against drones. I always say the best strategy against drones is to have drones. I think Fano supporters had money. They still have money, but they lack strategy. And they'll have to work on the strategy which I'm mentioning. I'm saying best defense against drones is that you should have drones. We have Mekonon Said says, "Hello everyone. Elim Gizao here. Mekonon is a member. Special welcome, Mekonon. Mekonon is the newest member. So special welcome to our members community, Mekonon Said. Elim Gizao joined. Welcome, Elim. Lilo here. Good to see you, Lilo. Lilo is very helpful, by the way. We are in touch, and the man is very responsible when he speaks with me. Yes, he has his loyalty, his support towards some groups, but when it comes to analysis, he speaks the truth, I think. We have Tamrat says, "You believe or not, Ethiopian access to sea." Well, okay, let me address this question. Some people say, especially Eritrea, Fano, opposition politician, they say that Abiy basically wants to divert attention from internal issues. That is why Abiy is raising the slogan of access to sea. If you ask me, I don't agree with that, by the way. I think Abiy is convinced that Ethiopia must gain access to sea. There are several reasons behind his conviction. Firstly, the TPLF made a blunder, and he has been ordained to correct a past mistake. Firstly. Secondly, I think Abiy's economic advisors have advised him that Ethiopia needs access to sea if it wants to make fast-paced economic progress, and that billions of dollars will be saved by Ethiopia. A new era of development and prosperity will usher in if Ethiopia gains access to sea. So he's convinced that Ethiopia must have access to sea. It's not that he wants to externalize the internal conflicts. That's my understanding. Uh, Sandro says, Sajid, you compared Ola and Fano before. You have Ola, the edge in most categories. How is that possible when Ola never storm major cities or control highways and plan coordinate offensives like Fano? Well, I compared them, I think, last year, and it's futile to compare them now because now they're allies, I think. Uh, Aman Washe joined. Aman is also a member. Special welcome, Aman. We have Lie Livo Garamio, Matahele, James Birhano says, you tricked us today. No, no, James, I have done my work on the topic which I mentioned. Hopefully, I'll cover that topic tomorrow. But I think this topic which I have chosen requires emergency coverage. The topic which I mentioned earlier in the day, that can be postponed for a day, no problem. But the situation in the Amhara region is rapidly evolving. I think it's a better topic. The purpose of live chats is to keep the viewers updated. I think this issue requires emergency attention. That's why I preferred this topic. Blue says, is Sudan giving Army 70 heavy equipment? Not heavy equipment, but Army 70 members are armed, and they can be armed by Egypt too. They can be armed by Eritrea too. So far, they need only small arms, I think. And that's what they have. Med Abduali here. Thank you, Lilo. Eden Gaming says, do you think Tigray is fighting for independence or to join Eritrea ultimately as of now? Well, Tigray, ideally, if you ask me, TPLF would like to be back in Addis Ababa. It would like to rule again, like it did in the form of EPRDF. Independence of Tigray is not possible now, keeping in view that Tigray has no connection with Sudan. Alliance with Eritrea cannot be in the form of being one country with Eritrea. So their alliance is to topple federal government of Ethiopia. And Dale here. Aman says, just tell them Abiy bought F-16 and B-2 because we Ethiopians only want to hear about war. Yeah, that's unfortunate, by the way. Musi Haptis join. Fickerman here. Mitiko Dema joined too. Mitiko, do you think Ethiopia has legal background to claim us support? Well, I think these Ethiopian government leaders tried legal channels too. They contacted some international law firms, they hired them. The law firms conducted some studies. I'm aware of that move by the government. I think they could not find any law firm which assured them that Ethiopia has a reliable case for Assad. That is why legal option might be an option, but it's not one of the best options being considered by this government. Interesting says, what weapons did Ethiopia get? Well, I'll explain that in tomorrow, hopefully, not in tonight's live chat. DSG join says, yeah, if Eritrea gets access to oil, it will save the biggest budget expense. Mengistu Katilla here, he only criticizes me. He's calling me liar. That's what he said last night too in live chat. Maxi here, Eskander, Samuel Faleke joined. Welcome, Samuel. MYN here. Goracha joined. Eden Gaming said, so you think that independent stock is a hoax? Yeah, I don't think that at this point of time, Tegera is considering the option of announcing independence. I don't think so. Obsatafri here asking what Lima Magarsa. I will share updates if I have any. ASAGW joined, who is also a member. Special welcome, ASAGW. Volderophile here, welcome Volderophile. Lots of members in tonight's live chat. Good to see you all. Mimi Petros here. Joy Asmara. Dane Kobe. Simon here. Daniel Casa. Well, as I said earlier, that the news, the exclusive information about the new weapon systems purchased by Ethiopia will be covered in a live chat or video tomorrow. In this video, in this live chat, I'm going to explain the current situation in the Amhara region, where it seems that Fano fighters are now feeling the pinch of drone strikes. All Good joined, welcome All Good. All Good is also a member. And today, Fano Groups issued an advisory about how to defend from drone strikes. Interestingly, vehicle use is being banned. Fano Groups a few weeks ago announced the start of conventional war. You heard two Fano commanders talk about conventional war. Which two Fano commanders? General Tafra Mamu and Mere Bodajo. Welcome, peace and love. Good to see you. These two Fano commanders clearly said that Fanos are now transitioning into conventional war from guerrilla war. Can you fight a conventional war without any vehicles? Is it possible? Today, Fano fighters, in a way, banned the use of vehicles. I'll explain all that in this live chat. Goracha join. Interesting, please don't write the same comment again and again. He's saying, can Eritrea sustain a war versus Ethiopia and can it afford large casualties due to its small population? Well, guerrilla groups, if Fano can survive, why can't Eritrea survive? I mean, Fano groups are not bigger than EDF. If they can survive, why can't EDF survive? So stop underestimating Eritrean military. And EDF should stop underestimating ENDF. This is how wars start, when these warring parties underestimate each other. Let's start, viewers. Just give me a few minutes. I will share an update with you from the Amhara region. The advisory issued by Fano, we'll have a look at it. and I will explain what happened, what led to the emergency instructions issued by Fano to defend from drone strikes. Uh, Firstly, in last night's live chat, I explained that a drone strike had been conducted in the vicinity of Bahirdar, Amhara regional capital, on Friday. Regular viewers, I think, would remember that that's what I said. We have Abdi Karim here. Welcome, Abdi Karim. He's also a member. So now, what is being confirmed by profano sources, not by government sources, because ENDF and Ethiopian government never issue any statement about drone strikes. Because if they admit they are conducting drone strikes, that could be used against them. Because civilians die too in drone strikes, airstrikes. Fano groups, Amhara groups, they could launch international campaign for imposition of sanctions on the Ethiopian government for human rights violations. That is why government, media, ENDF, they never say a word when they conduct drone strikes. Drone strikes are happening. So yesterday's strike in the vicinity of Bahirdar, which actually happened in Dehna Mariam Kabale, it hit a vehicle, a Sino truck. You call it Sino or Sino, which was being used by Fano fighters. The truck was totally destroyed. That's what we learned from the area. Some pro-Fano sources say that some ENDF POWs were on board too. They were being taken from a location to another location. They were there, uh, escorted by Fano fighters, and in that drone strike, ENDF POWs were killed and some Fano fighters were killed. But pro-Fano sources or neutral sources, which I trust, they're confirming that Friday's drone strike in the vicinity of Bahirdar hit a vehicle used by Fano fighters. That's what I can assure you. I have verified that, firstly. Then 48 hours ago, around 48 hours ago, a training ground of Fano fighters was hit. It was hit in Gayanth. Zage is the name of the locality. South Gondar. Second strike. Again precise. Pro-Fano sources claim that women have been killed. Civilians have been killed, but what we learned from the area is that Fano fighters were operating there. So second strike hit the target. Third strike happened today. I'm talking about the strikes which actually hit targets. The third strike hit today. It was conducted in Kwara. Kwara is on Amhara-Sudan border. This wareda is used by Fano fighters to move to Sudan and vice versa. And it's a very strategic wareda, strategic place, by the way. Military for the last 2 years has been trying to dislodge Fano from Kwara. But Fano managed to remain in control of Kwara. Why? Because Kwara is the supply line, you can say. If they want to buy any logistics through Sudan, from Eritrea, from any country, Kwara is the route they take to go to Sudan to receive those supplies. It's a very strategic place, and there is large-scale presence of foreign fighters in Quara. Today's drone strike was conducted in Quara. Again, confirmed. Hopefully, by tomorrow, we'll receive information about deaths and casualties, deaths and people injured. Some sources say that Saturday market was the place where the strike was conducted, and traders, shopkeepers, and those who came for shopping, they were injured in today's dawn strike in Kuara. But let me give a few hours, because, as I said, government media silent, Fano media don't admit losses. So we have to find sources on the ground to get information for you. Give me a few hours. Hopefully, tomorrow I will explain what was the target in Kuara. But as I said, there is heavy presence of Fano fighters in Kuara. So 3 strikes in the last 72 hours. 3 strikes in 3 consecutive days. That is why now Fano groups have issued a drone protection advisory for its fighters. Gojam Fano released a drone protection advisory. Other Fano groups issued guidelines too about how to protect from drones. One important part of this advisory is that use of vehicles is being banned by Fano commanders. They're saying that vehicles should only be used for emergency travel. Why? Because of the strike which happened yesterday in the outskirts of Bahidar, where a vehicle was hit and Fano fighters were killed. And by the way, when Tegarai fighters started suffering losses in 2021, their military vehicles, their artillery pieces, their uh, tanks were destroyed by TV2s. So it became impossible for them to march. They could have marched on foot to reach Addis. Their heavy weapons lost the ability to move because of drones being in the air. They retreated. Though Tegarai generals, TPLF, they never acknowledged that. But from day one, since the retreat, I've been maintaining this position that drones actually stopped the movement of Tegarai fighters. Now, when Fano fighters are trying to up the ante and trying to convert guerrilla war into conventional war, they are banning the use of vehicles. What does it mean? It means they are facing the similar challenge faced by Fano, faced by Tegarai fighters in the past. And so far, Fano fighters haven't started use of heavy weapons. People say, Sajid, why is that Fano don't use heavy weapons? They can capture these heavy weapons from government forces. They can buy vehicles. Why don't they use such heavy weapons? Well, if they start using heavy weapons, they could be hit. They could be more vulnerable to drone strikes. You need to protect your vehicles. So, changing this guerrilla war into conventional war will come with a cost. Are Fano prepared to pay the cost? So far, they are not. They have banned the use of vehicles. Firstly. Secondly, they have banned the use of some applications. Telegram use has been banned. TikTok has been banned. Live location sharing, live chats have been banned by Fano commanders. And it is being advised that Fano groups must not spend more than 40 minutes in a location. After every 40 minutes, they must change their location. They should not move in large uh, groups. They should move in columns, zigzag columns, and they should practice corona like, COVID like restrictions. And COVID spread, social distancing measures were introduced. Same are being introduced by Fano fighters, that Fano fighters should have a distance of a few meters between them when these fighters move, 10-meter distance maybe. And they should not move in single columns, they should move in zigzag columns. Use of mobile phones is being discouraged. Only military communication, satellite devices are being allowed, which are being used by commanders. Uh, it is being advised that no foreign fighter should have location enabled on their mobiles. Meeting venues, it has been advised, must be changed. And at the last minute, venue should be changed. There should be two or three venues for a meeting, and at the last minute, one venue should be finalized. These are type of precautionary measures which have been announced today by Fano groups. And now mid-level, lower-level Fano fighters are being briefed about it. By the way, these Ethiopian YouTubers based abroad, TikTokers based abroad, Facebook activists based abroad, they are making money by interviewing Fano commanders. They're making money by showing pictures and videos which are sent to them by Fano fighters from the Amhara region. That is risky. That is why it is being advised that no picture, no live picture or video should be shared. No live interview should be conducted. Pictures and video should only be shared after foreign fighters have moved from the area. And even after foreign fighters move from an area, sharing of pictures, videos should be done with uh, that in mind, that location could be tracked. Why have these instructions been announced now? Why is that we did not see these instructions during a Banadi operation? It means that the government side has launched massive air campaign. The government's trump card is in motion, and that is use of drones, use of air force. Uh, and Fano groups are feeling the pinch of these airstrikes. As I said earlier, some targets are being hit very precisely. And you know that Ethiopian Air Force has this capability. We saw that during Tagaray War that the Ethiopian Air Force hit targets precisely on the ground. And maybe they have developed more capabilities now. Maybe they have more skilled operators and more advanced drones now. So Fano fighters have no real defense. Holding of meetings during daytime is being banned by Fano fighters, Fano commanders. They say drones are active during daytime, they're more active. That is why meetings should be conducted at night. Let's see, will these precautions save Fano fighters? Will they be able to continue their advance, or will they suffer more losses and their advance into different parts of Amhara will be slowed down? But all signs are there that Fano groups are feeling the heat of the airstrikes and drone strikes being conducted by the Ethiopian Air Force. Samuel Falke says, Sajid, according to the ENDF and the Amhara regional government, Fano is on the run and in hiding. What's your assessment of the situation? Well, no, I don't think that Fano fighters are on the run. They're hiding. No, I don't think so. I think in the first round of renewed operation by Fano fighters inflicted losses on military. A Banadio operation was a nightmare for ENDF. But they made some mistakes during that operation. They again saw internal divisions. They fought each other. That is why they had to stop their operation. And secondly, ENDF started mobilization. The Fano fighters withdrew from main town cities. They did not try to hold on to their gains in most places, excluding a few. They tried to preserve their capabilities and they withdrew from main town cities. Military then, yes, you're right, LM, Mechanistila mosque attack was also the one which slowed down their advance in Wallo. Several factors led to decrease in Fano's gains. Military launched ground offensives against Fano. Ground offensives have not been very successful, by the way. In most cases, Fano fighters withdrew from towns, military entered there. Military has not been able to inflict heavy losses on Fano through ground offensives. Military's trump card is air power, and this trump card is being used. And Fano fighters are definitely dying now. But we cannot say they are in hiding, they are dying in large numbers, and they are suffering irreparable losses. We cannot say that. I think we'll have to wait to see. Government's trump card will remain in operation for a few days, for a few weeks. And after that, things will be clear. So far, no major Fano commander has been hit by government side. Bakag says, how is Eritrea geographically vulnerable to drone strikes? It's similar to Afar, few hiding places and no forests. Yeah, I agree. I agree with you that Eritrea will be very vulnerable to drone and air strikes in case of any conflict against Ethiopia. He also says PP is using drones because it is under immense pressure. They did it when Tigray fighters were approaching Addis Ababa. You're right. As I said, that military launched ground offensives. Military could not inflict losses on Fano. Fano fighters just withdrew. The last option or the best option for military is to use air force. That's what military is doing. Alhamd Umar says, can Dagalo hit Asmara or Masawa? Definitely he can. Because Dagalo is suffering losses, by the way. RSF is losing ground in Sudan. RSF has been accusing two countries mainly, Egypt and Eritrea, of backing SAF. And if Ethiopia Eritrea tensions rise more, Dagalo could be involved. Tomorrow, Berhano James, tomorrow. Matikko Dima says, if Fano enters big towns, do you think the government will use drones and towns occupied? They will definitely use drones. We saw that. In Sanka, they carried out a drone strike. Sanka is not a large town, but they carried out a strike on a health center there. So, entry of Fano in cities won't stop people from using drones, I think. Does Fano hold territory in Vargasa, Vichale, Sanka, Serenka? Well, I think they withdrew from most of these places. As I said earlier, when END was mobilized in North and South Wollo, Fano fighters withdrew from main towns. Why? Because they had inflicted losses on ENDF. They just wanted to protect their capabilities. They just withdrew. But they'll keep on entering these places and carrying out hit and run attacks. Samuel says, does the Ethiopian military currently have the upper hand to crush Fano in a short period of time? No one can be crushed in a short period of time, neither Fano nor military. For the last 2 years, they've been using all these tactics. On strikes are not new, by the way. This file says, hi Sajid, I made it today for the second time for live chat, though never missed a single video of you. Thank you, Tisfai. Thanks a lot for honoring me by attending this live chat. Well, these drone strikes are not new, by the way. They tried all these tactics in the past. The government side used drones in 2023, 2024, 2025, but I think this time we are seeing extensive use of drones. Proper Air Force use is now on display in the Amhara region. Foreign groups will be tested. They are being tested. Bakag, I don't know. It's up to YouTube to show the usernames of viewers or not because I have no role in it. Ethiopia says, how strong is Fano? What do you think, Sajid? Well, I always make comparisons. Compare today's Fano and 2023's Fano. Isn't Fano stronger now? Hasn't Fano come a long way? Almost entire Amhara Special Force joined Fano. So Fano is definitely strong, stronger than ever now. It is strong enough to reach Addis. That can be debated. If Ethiopia war starts, Sudan's military will suffer as it is Eritrean military, as Eritrean military is helping it. I think we could see some breakthrough in Sudanese civil war. Americans are intervening there. Donald Trump government has proposed a humanitarian ceasefire for a few weeks. It is being considered by both Al Burhan and Hamdan Dagalo. US could force the two parties to agree to humanitarian ceasefire. So we could see a breakthrough in Sudanese civil war, I think, because US now wants to end this war. Trump wants to end another war. He wants to be remembered for ending lots of wars. In history, he wants to be remembered. I think he has decided to put his foot in Sudan to end this war. You could see a breakthrough, I think. Bakag says, does the conflict in Amhara actually help the Amhara people? Well, Amhara people are on both sides. They're part of the government too. Those Amhara leaders who are part of the government, they are benefiting from being part of Prosperity Party. Don't want war. Those who are in opposition, they think Amhara people are in danger. They are the victims of genocide. There are some beneficiaries of the conflict in Amhara, and there are some who are victims of this conflict in Amhara. And secondly, Amharas don't live just in Amhara region. They live in Oromia too. They live in Driddeva. They live in other parts of Ethiopia. Overall, we can say the residents of the Amhara region are suffering. When millions of students are out of schools in a region, it means that region is paying a heavy cost of the conflict there. Lilo says, is it impossible to get anti drones? Well, Lilo, I would repeat what I've been saying. Best defense against drones is that you should have a drone. Anti drones are not fully effective. And if you want to buy high quality anti drone, they're very costly. And they can only be government to government deals to buy those types of anti drone weapons. Small jamming guns are not very effective against drones. Maybe they can shoot down a few drones. They're not very effective. So I would again say drones can only be countered by drones. I mean, they hit you, you hit them. That's what the best defense is, if you call it defense. James, as Trump is threatening to invade Venezuela, Maduro government he wants to topple, I think. Yeah, you're right. He's threatening. You never know about him, what he's up to. But he's putting his foot in Sudan to end this war. It's 50 minutes have passed. I think we should end the live chat. It was good to be with you. I shared a channel picture with you from the Amhara region. This channel assessment is missing. No one is watching the region closely. Pro Fano sources all day make videos about Fano's gains, and government sources all day say Fano groups are on the run. No one is doing a balanced assessment of the situation in the Amhara region on daily basis. We'll ensure that we keep you updated through such daily coverage of the situation in the Amhara region. Thanks for watching. I'll be back tomorrow. Till then, Bye bye.